So today I really want to tell you guys about this exciting app that I found. It's called Tiki, and it allows you to take back control of your data. So listen to this. Did you know that companies made $382 billion from your data last year alone? Well, this app called Tiki, it allows you to choose what data you share with companies and how you monetize it. You just link your accounts to the app and then you get a payout. Tiki is completely free to use and is available worldwide, so you can start earning from anywhere. Tiki just launched and they have limited spots available for people to use the app right now. So make sure that you sign up at www.mytiki.com/financially free. Now, once you sign up, you'll be sent a link to download the app and then you start using it. And they're growing super fast and will be having weekly releases and adding new features. They're doing so as we speak. More than 30,000 people have signed up already, so make sure that you join early. The link is going to be in the podcast description as well as the show notes. Let's take a moment to thank this episode's sponsor, Podcorn. Now, as you all know, I am a huge advocate for pursuing your passions and creating multiple streams of income. Well, this podcast is my passion, and by generating income through the show, I'm able to continue to support the show and create more content to share with all of you. Now, Podcorn is a dedicated platform that connects podcasters to amazing podcast sponsorship opportunities like topical discussions, giveaways, interviews, or host-read ads just like this one. Now, with Podcorn, there's no middleman, which means that you get to retain complete control of your show and the brands that you choose to collaborate with. Podcorn also makes sure that you're protected and compensated for the work that you do. I have personally had the opportunity to review brands that are looking to collaborate on podcasts and handpick what brands I wanted to feature on my show based off of what I thought all of you guys might enjoy hearing. Now, having transparency, full control, and creative freedom is a value that Podcorn and I have in common, which is why I love using their platform. Click the link in my show notes to sign up with Podcorn and start browsing sponsorship opportunities today. All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Financially Free Journey podcast. And I am your host, Courtney Dyer. And I am so excited, guys. I know I promised you that I have some upcoming guests that are going to blow your mind. Well, today is one of those episodes, and I have a very special guest with me today. Nicole, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I am so excited because I think that we had been emailing back and forth for a little while, and I keep wanting to blame all of my procrastination on the pandemic. And I'm going to go ahead and do that again today and say it just took me a little bit to connect. And so I'm glad that we were able to get it done. But guys, I wanted to introduce you to Nicole. She is actually a partner at Second Opinion Partners. She's been there for over 12 years. She's a financial planner, a wealth manager, and a public speaker who specializes in investments and transition planning. And she also, this is a special treat, is a best-selling author of the book called Navigating Life's Transitions, Connecting Your Means to Your Meaning. So I thought bringing her on today and asking her some questions about financial planning, about her book and her process to help you guys uncover how to better succeed when it comes to your financial planning and achieving your money goals. So Nicole, you want to give everybody just a little bit of a background? Anything else you want to add to that opening?
Well, that was great. Thank you. I have been a financial planner for over 15 years. This is the only career I know. It's something that's always interested me. I did go through a lot of hurdles myself, getting started in my career and just getting started in life. Like I went through a lot in 5 years that most people don't go through, in 30, 40, 50 years, where they hit at different times. And so it's really put me in an amazing position to empathize and sympathize with people and understand when they're going through some of those challenging moments, what that's like, what to do, and how to navigate through transition. Again, the transition can be simple as, hey, I'm moving jobs or I want to change my career to, oh my gosh, I'm going through divorce or I lost a loved one, I'm helping my aging parents. Whatever it may be, for whatever reason, the universe put me on here to go through 5 years of hell, is the best way to say it. And it really taught me how to help people navigate through some of those challenging times in life that, life throws us curveballs. And it got me to where I am today.
Well, you know what? Growth is really, it happens in that uncomfortable space, right? We never grow and succeed when we're comfortable and we don't have challenges. Unfortunately, challenge is a part of that growth experience. And so hearing that you have personally experienced some hardship when it comes to finances, I think really speaks to the listeners as well, because guys, not everybody is born into wealth and being able to handle money correctly and with all of the financial education and tools that you need to be successful. And so it really sounds like you really rose up to the occasion and were able to dig yourself out of your own hardships that you experienced and really rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. I graduated with college with a lot of debt. My dad lost his job during one of the major recessions back in 2001. And I decided to not burden my parents and took out private loans. Didn't know what the heck I was doing, but signed some major paperwork, graduated with $100,000 of debt. And then I graduated college and I ended up having a tumor on my liver. So I put that debt on forbearance and let it ride for a little bit so I could take care of my health. And before I knew it, 100 became 160, and so it was a lot. And I think, when you don't have somebody to ask for help and you don't know how you got change that course for yourself, it's a lot of hard work. And I think today sometimes people are afraid of the hard work that there is, but you can get yourself from 0 to 60. You get yourself out of any situation, basically, if you're willing to put in the time. But today we flip through Instagram, we flip through Facebook, and everybody has this like pretty picture. And I'm here to tell you that it might be a pretty picture today, but it wasn't always a pretty picture. There was some path to get there.
Absolutely. We get to see the highlight reel, as we all are well aware of that saying now when it comes to social media. And a lot of times people don't like to reveal and really show and be vulnerable as far as to what they've experienced in order to be where they're currently at. And so I really appreciate you sharing your experience with myself and the listeners, because it really does have people feel better about the situation that they're in when they understand you're not in a situation you can't get out of, that other people haven't also experienced and then went on to be successful after experiencing those hardships. But it doesn't mitigate the fact that it is absolutely hard to be able to experience that and to find a path forward. And so that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today, as well as when it comes to experiencing obstacles in your life, what has helped you personally and professionally become stronger?
Really getting down to what I value and what I want. And I actually just had a conversation about that this weekend. And I think we grow up in, like, I'll call it fantasy land. We all want the white picket fence. Everyone's white picket fence life may look different, but we all want some, or have some thought of what a white picket fence life looks like. And I certainly did. As I've gotten older and as I've really gotten clear on what my values are and what's important to me, that's changed. I used to think I want this huge house, the most expensive cars in the driveway, and like a lot of things. And now, this weekend I was away on business and I was somewhere else, and I'm like, I would exchange or cap my income any day to have some things that money can't buy, to have some of the closest relationships that I have in my life stay with me. And so I think one of the things that got me to and through some of my own hardships was, what do I really, really want? Not what society is telling me I need, not what my friends have or what I see on social media, but what does Nicole want? What's going to make Nicole happy? And how am I going to live my best life? And when I got clear on what that vision was, it's crazy what happens. I have goals that were on my closet door, like I'm in college or something. And I even laminated them and put them in my shower. And it was stuff
The vision board, right?
Vision board, yes.
Yes.
And I made sure I saw it every day. And some of the stuff on there was simple for me. It was, listen, I want 2 vacations a year. I want an adventure vacation and I want an R&R vacation. I want to spend quality time, not necessarily quantity of time, but quality time with my son. So that means no cell phone at night. So I just started putting little measurable things on a list. And, I wanted to pay off my student loan debt, and I had chunks by this age, by this much, I'm going to do this. And it started to come to fruition slowly but surely. I did work my butt off to do it, and I wasn't afraid to put in the hard work, and I didn't play victim. And I think that's part of the thing today too, is it's so much easier to be like, oh, this is the hand I was dealt, and like I'm never getting out of it, and this is what it is. And I so could have done that, but I didn't. I wanted to get past that hurdle. I knew I could get past, and I knew I could put the hard work, but really getting clear on values, what's important to you, and really what does your best life look like? Not your friends, not your neighbors, yours. Like, what is going to make you happy when you sleep at night, knowing that you've done these things? And you'll come to see that a lot of it is not money, it's not the house. Because once you have that stuff, like I was talking with somebody this weekend. I was on a business trip, and we're both an amazing entrepreneur, and we're both like, well, we have everything we want. Yeah, could you get a bigger house? Could you have yeah, but like that's not going to make me any happier at this point. Like I feel very fulfilled, and you'll get to that point. So I think getting clarity on your values and putting some smart, measurable goals is one of the first steps. And it's so simple, but everybody skips it.
Absolutely. Well, and it seems simple in theory, but a lot of times, and I know you've referred to this previously, but really identifying your why and not what you have been taught culturally or within our society is the expectation. And I talk about this a lot on my podcast, but the lack of financial education in our country, and really a lot of people graduate. And as you had mentioned, you are at 18 years old, given the privilege to really sign away your life and put yourself in a student loan debt, which is a cultural, societal expectation, right? It's very costly. It's unsecured debt that you can never get rid of. You can't declare bankruptcy on. So you start out in a hole, and being able to really identify like, okay, maybe college is something for you, or maybe it's not, but identifying, was that a decision that you made financially for yourself, or was it a expectation that was external? Same thing with going and getting a 30-year mortgage. Is that something that you truly wanted, or is it just the next step on the list that everybody else has created for you? And so I think really digging down into your true why is the first step. And it seems so simple in theory, but it can be a lot harder when you try to eliminate all of the external factors and expectations and just really internally look at yourself. So that can be a little harder than it sounds at times, right?
Absolutely. It is one of the hardest parts to get some clarity on really what you want, what your life looks like, and what
So
you value.
you were in, you said $100,000 worth of student loan debt. You put it into forbearance. You had some health issues. It accumulated up to 160,000 because those of you that don't know, when you're listening, when you do put student loans into forbearance, it does alleviate you of your monthly payments, but you do still accumulate interest during the time that you're not making the payments. So that's how it ended up at 160,000. And so being at that point, and then now to where you're so successful in your career and you're helping others, you put some smart, actionable goals in place. How did you keep yourself motivated along the way? Because that can seem like to some a really large hole to dig yourself out of.
Super large hole. And not to mention, while I was digging myself out of a ton of college loan debt, a tumor on my liver. I was married and was pregnant with my son, and then going through divorce, and then having to face the surgery of having half my liver removed. So like a lot of stuff. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I had it in me to keep going, because I really did keep going. But one of the things I consistently practiced was gratitude. And I know these sound like, whatever.
A Pinterest board quote.
Yes, right. Yes. But I got to tell you, like, it gets you through, because there is no magic wand, and it does take a lot of energy within you. And that's why I say it's so much easier to like give up and be the victim and be like, I'm never getting ahead. I'm never going to own a house. I'm never going to have this. And you can do it. But every night, something I practice, and listen, you don't need a journal. You don't need to do all these extra exercises, because when you are working yourself out of debt and you're working a ton of hours, you are on the grind. So I literally took 2 minutes a day. And someone taught me this on how you can rewire your brain. There's a great book out there about it from a guy from Harvard wrote it. But long story short, I literally just spent like a minute or 30 seconds every night and said, here's what I'm thankful for. And here's actually what I accomplished today. Even if it was the crappiest day. And even if I felt like I wasn't making any headway, there was always something that I was thankful for and some headway I was making that I could start to like, again, continue to stay positive. So that was one of the things. And then really making smart, measurable goals. Instead of just saying, oh, I was thankful for everything. No, really actually making progress and being like, okay, I'm going to do X by this date. I'm going to pay off another $1,000 by this date. What is my trade-off? Well, my trade-off is I can't go on vacation, or I can't buy these extra things, or I can't do all that stuff. It's okay, but I'm making this progress. So smart, measurable goals, practicing gratitude and just that positivity, keep your mindset in a good place. Because it is a challenge to keep yourself positive, and it's way easier to be negative and, down in the dumps about stuff than it is to like really forge ahead and keep the strength. Think about it as like a marathon running. It's so much mind over matter.
Absolutely. And for the listeners too, we keep saying SMART goals, and it's an acronym. It's, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. And so when we say, SMART goals, of course they're intelligent goals because they are things that you can really measure. And so, for example, if you have $160,000 worth of student loan debt, breaking it down into smaller, realistic steps that you can keep yourself motivated along the way. It sounds like, Nicole, was really the key to success for you, not looking at that looming overall number. It was really saying, you know what, today I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be grateful that I was able to achieve this small portion to help my longer goals. And so one thing that I always think about too is we get ourselves into these financial predicaments because I think we're wanting that instant gratification, right? Short-term success, or wanting to buy a fancy car to be able to look cool, or buy a big house to show people that we're moving on in our lives. But do your short-term goals, does it really support your long-term goals as well? And so when you had mentioned earlier, really understanding your why and pinpointing that, it's so helpful to stay motivated in the long term if you can really understand why you're maybe giving up, drinks with your friends on the weekend, or not going on that, weekend getaway, to really stay aligned with your long-term goals. Because it's also going to be, I would say, more enjoyable, right? Than that short-term
100%.
satisfaction.
And you won't believe how many of your peers are living in the now and so unprepared. So then when you get yourself to a good position and they're not, or they, something major happens in their life, it's amazing. So I think I looked at everything as a trade-off. And I also looked at everything saying, going back to what I value, how to always go back to my values. And I think you're right on, like, why are you doing this? What are you getting out of it? And where do I want to go? And I think we all get stuck in, finally, when I like crawled out of debt and I was like in a really good position. I mean, listen, we all fall to that, like, okay, if I can finally like buy a fancy car, I can finally do X. And, you go a little buck wild. And then it was like, wait, come back in. You have
reel it in.
Yeah, reel it in, back to reality. I mean, because it was just finally nice to be able to breathe and be like, oh, okay, I'm not, paying off debt. I don't have any debt, and I can enjoy a little. But again, it went always then, even in those situations, again, where money wasn't a question, it was going back to my why. Like, is this really doing what I needed to do? And is it wasteful or whatever? And so the why is so important. And everybody, I think one of the most important things is living your best life looks very different than your peers, your friends, your neighbors. Everybody's is so unique to them. So unique, and it always looks different, and it's okay. Like, you don't necessarily my son just said it it was like this past summer. He goes, when are we going to finally get a bigger house? And we have a really nice house. And it's just him and I. And I said, well, we can get a bigger house. It's totally fine. But then, he's a very lucky little boy, and we both like to travel. And I'm like, well, then we can't do these trips, and we can't do some of these other things we do, because that's the trade-off. And then he like thought about it, and it's really neat to see it through like a 9-year-old's eyes. He's now 10, but a 9-year-old's eyes is like, actually, we could just stay in our house. I still want to do all these trips and do all these other fun things we do. So, you
That's a
know,
good life lesson, Nicole. I mean, come on, it's experiences over material items, right? Was that lesson you were teaching him?
yes, and that's kind of been like our little hashtag to life, experience over things. And again, not to say like you want to have a nice house, you want to have a nice car, you want to have nice things, but at the end of the day, I pose everything to myself and I pose everything to my kid. Which again, you had mentioned earlier, there's no financial literacy that we learn in school, but like okay buddy, we can have the big fancy house like our neighbors do, or but they never go on vacation, they don't do all these other things that you get to experience. He's like, oh, I kind of like going to Europe, I like going on these adventures to Alaska or wherever we're off to next. We put a vision board every year together on where we're going to travel. And so it's just a good lesson and to learn like listen, it's a trade-off. In my best life, travel is my thing. Other people maybe hate to travel. Okay, well, they may have the big house because you know what, they're a homebody, they love their house and their home's going to be, that's their everything. Great, that's your trade-off. So again, um, we live in a world which is so difficult today with social media to compare ourselves to others. Get out of the comparison. Your best life is going to look different than someone else's, and that is okay.
Now, let's take a moment to thank this episode's sponsor, Real Paper. Now, Real Paper is a tree-free toilet paper. It's made from 100% bamboo. It's plastic-free, 0% plastic. Even the packing tape is made from paper. And you've got home delivery options, so it's conveniently delivered right to your doorstep. And you're never going to run out of toilet paper again because you can choose how often you want to have it delivered. And get this, every roll purchased helps fund access to clean toilets for people that are in need. And Real is delivered with free shipping. It's just the cherry on top. Now, I'm very excited for this. We have a coupon code for 25% off. It's financially free, and you're going to get that off of your first subscription order at realpaper.com. That's REEL paper.com. I will link the website in my show notes, and I'll make sure to put in that coupon code financially free so you can get 25% off. An important part of the journey to financial freedom is keeping your habits and your lifestyle in check. And as we all know, routines are a vital piece of the puzzle, but most of us find it difficult to create and stick to routines, whether it's in the morning, evening, or even just throughout the day. Well, today's sponsor is an app called Bookstop, and it helps with just that. Now, what's with the name Bookstop, you might ask? Well, your morning and your evening routines are often referred to as the book stops that hold your day together, like two book stops propping up the books on a shelf. Now, this app was created by a young man named Charlie, who's from New Zealand, and he has ADHD. Well, Bookstop allows you to create a list of tasks for you to complete different routines. Then when you're ready, you hit start and you proceed through each task one by one with a stopwatch running on the screen. Now, thanks to the stopwatch, you get a time score when you complete a routine. And that means that each day you can try to improve your score, getting through your tasks and your routines quicker and quicker, which I find phenomenal. Now, Charlie came up with this idea after reading a neuroscience and behavioral psychology study that shows the benefits of using self-competitiveness to release dopamine in the brain, which is a key ingredient in locking in and sticking to healthy new behaviors. And this makes Bookstop different from other apps and methods you might have tried in the past. And so far, the results are extremely promising. So if you think you can benefit from some help with locking in a healthy new routine, or you simply want to optimize your mornings and your evenings, then go to www.getbookstop.com and sign up for the app. Charlie is hoping to find 100 new people to help test the app and give feedback on it so he can improve it before launching it to the world. And get this, if you sign up on the website today, you'll lock in premium access to the app free for life as a thank you for being a beta tester and a listener to the podcast. So make sure that you go to www.getbookstop.com and sign up for the app today. Absolutely. I love that you say that because I put up a video on social media just giving an example with compounding interest and how over time, letting it compound, it would end up over $1 million. And I had said, this is a way to achieve financial freedom. And I had a lot of people say, well, $1.8 million would be nothing. That wouldn't even buy me, the house that I want, which goes to your point, Nicole, that it's what my best life and my financially free journey looks like will be different than yours. And so understanding that and really identifying what your dream is, what your vision is for your future is critical because it is very different for everyone. And that takes me to, you are a full-time financial planner. And so you deal with people day in and day out, helping them achieve what their best life looks like. And so for the listener, what advice do you have that you can share with them that maybe you share with your clients on how to really get in on your goals, understand what they are, and how to make progress when it comes to achieving them?
I say get out a piece of pen and paper. And the first step I have you do 2 exercises. One is if you had your magic wand today, what would your life look like? And when I say, what would it look like? Be very detailed. I call it like your vision. I wake up at this time. Like mine was I love being a mom and I want to be that mom, but I also want to be total boss and like have an awesome career. So mine is like, wake up, make my son, breakfast. Like I wrote one 10 years ago and it's super specific, exactly what my days look like, who I was surrounded by, what my weekends look like, what I was doing, where I was living, what I was driving, literally so specific, where you're vacationing. So that's your vision. Then I have you do another exercise, and that is write your eulogy. If you were gone tomorrow, what do you want people saying about you? And look at those two things together, and are they in alignment?
Wow.
And there will be some things in alignment, and there will be some things that are not. And you may, in your vision, might have been focused on a whole heck of a lot of things. In your eulogy, I might have been more focused on, wow, not things, but time spent with certain people or doing certain things. So again, maybe it's not the house or the car, or the neighborhood that you're living in, but it was time spent doing, again, whether it's with family, friends, volunteering, again, how do you want to be remembered? And are you living your life today like you want to be remembered? I know we hear it all the time, live like seize the day, live like it's your last day. But really, what does that mean? And I think it's kind of a BS term because, live like it's your last day. Well, how, when I say that, I mean it, like live like it's your last day. I wake up every morning. I love what I do. I love how I spend my time. I know that if I were gone tomorrow, I know what people would be saying at my funeral. And that's how I live my day, that I want to make an impression and I want to make an impact on everybody that comes across my path. Now, everyone's different on how they want to be remembered, but those are things that are important to me. And they have nothing to do with where I live, what I drive, oh, wow, what kind of purse I have or shoes I have, any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. While I may like that stuff, it really doesn't. That stuff doesn't matter. So those are the first 2 exercises. I also just, not everyone can have an advisor. Not everyone has the means to get started or needs a financial advisor. But this past year, one of my passion projects was to really put a course together on how to live your best life. And there's
Oh,
huge financial component to it. It's findyourbestlifenow.com, and it's an online course. And there's continually courses being added to it. But one of the first courses is, again, living your best life. What does that look like? And it takes you through some of these exercises and a whole heck of a lot more. And then there's in there too, like job transition, or listen, I hate my job. I just told you I love waking up and doing what I do every day. 90% of people don't. Okay, well, if you don't, like, you can't, you also hear, if you don't like what you're doing, find what you like and you'll start making money at it. Okay, that's also BS. At the end of the day, you got to pay your mortgage, your rent, you got to pay your bills. But there is a way to go about doing it and making it through that transition to get you somewhere where, listen, 90% of your time you love what you do. And that's flipping that around. Instead of 90% of it you hate, like you really enjoy what you do. So, again, your vision and your eulogy are probably the 2 most important exercises to kind of get you started and to really take a deep look at what you're looking for and where you want to go and how to live your best life.
That is such an impactful exercise. And to put it that way, because it's really finding that intersection between the things that you're passionate about, right? And your expertise and your talent, and that where does that intersect to be able to find where you will be able to be the best and succeed the most in your life? Because we do have, everybody has material things that they want, but also there's other things in life. So how can we balance our time and our efforts to make sure that it's where our talents and our passions really intersect to be the most successful? And so I love that. And so also with your course, what a great idea to help people find how they can live their best lives. And so guys, go check that out. I'll also include the link to that in the show notes if you're interested. So you can go and click on it and easily find the website. So
I will also give all the listeners like 50% off the course. You could just hit the code could be podcast.
Perfect.
So 50% off and, start living your best life now.
Okay, guys, you're going to take her up on that offer, 50% off with the code podcast. That is an amazing way to be able to get all of her expertise packed into a course to help you really understand how to take those steps forward. I mean, what a fantastic opportunity. So thank you, Nicole. That is an amazing offer for the listeners. I really appreciate that. Another question that I wanted to ask you, and I know we're coming up close to the end of our time here, but I recently had a listener write in, and I've received this question a lot, but this last email that I received really hit home. And this listener had asked, I want to be able to get a financial professional to help me to help create a plan for my finances so I understand where to go, but I have no idea what I'm even looking for, right? You don't know what you don't know. So what am I looking for when I'm talking to a financial professional? What are some red flags to look for? So if you can kind of walk the listeners through briefly, how would they find a financial professional that would be best for them?
Perfect. So a couple things to look for. First off, if they're doing stuff for free, they're going to try and sell you something. It's hands down. That's how they're making their money. No one's working for free. So I'm a big proponent of fee-based planning because you know how the advisor got paid. You understand it. And there's a lot of times there's just a guise to sell you something if they're going to say, oh, I'll do all this planning for free. And then you know what? The plan is manipulated to sell you whatever they want to sell you. So be prepared to pay, and it's okay to pay. You know what you're getting and understand what you're getting. I think it's important to know that the investment portion today is a commodity. You can get it anywhere. You can go to a Vanguard, Fidelity, any of the major wirehouses, and you can invest on your own. You don't need a planner for that. What you need a planner for is guidance and advice that an algorithm can't give you. So this planner, and this is perfect stuff to ask them, but are they going to touch on some tax planning stuff, some estate planning, your investments, insurance, retirement planning, or college planning? And if the answer is yes, and they're going to go into all those, then they're the right person. But you don't want someone just for investments, and you don't want someone just for insurance. And that's majority of our industry. The industry is broken. I say it all the time. So you're wanting someone who is a true, this word is now gets thrown around, holistic planner that really covers a 30,000 foot view of your situation. Don't be afraid to pay for a plan. That's a good thing. And they should be willing to give you I call it your prescription or your recommendations, so that you can go fulfill that on your own. So I tell clients when I meet with them, listen, at the end of the day, you're going to pay me for my time to take you through my expertise, guidance, and advice, and I'm going to give you a prescription. Go fill it at whatever pharmacy you want. If you want to do it yourself, you want someone else, I don't care. My job is to educate you. So you want someone really education-based. Make sure they have some credentials. This industry is also known for just getting people in career change and learning as they go. So look for certified financial planners, accredited investment fiduciaries. If you're going through divorce, certified divorce financial analyst or behavioral finance analyst. Those are people that are going to go beyond just, hey, here's a plan and I'm here trying to sell you something. And again, there are some great online resources. You may just need an online resource right now. And then maybe down the road, you need a planner. But there are good people out there. Don't be afraid to ask lots of questions and get a good feel. Cause this is someone who, are they living their best life? And you can kind of get a feel from people like, are they doing what you think they're doing? Or are they selling you something? Are they in a sales role? I want to be educated. And so I'm big on find a person who it's like the golden rule, do unto others as you want unto yourself, so that you get that feeling like, hey, they're giving the same advice that they'd give to their own family. And that's really what you want. So a couple simple things. Don't be afraid to pay for a plan. Ask, look for credentials, and make sure that they're very comprehensive. They're not focused on just investments or just insurance.
Absolutely. It's really, and as you said, that holistic view of the planning, because when we were talking about earlier, the ability to be able to identify your long-term goals, sometimes that can be really hard. And a financial planner, when they do take that holistic 30,000, view approach, they are able to help you identify long-term and help you see a few steps ahead that you may have not experienced yet. Because again, we don't know what we don't know, but if you are getting the assistance of a financial professional, they have helped many of people do what you're wanting to accomplish. And so understand that you are paying for their expertise, not just for the physical transactional portion of investing the funds into whatever stocks or bonds, they're talking to you about. So it really is their knowledge that you're enlisting. And so getting a great feel for their ability to understand what you're wanting to accomplish and then guiding you there is huge. So I really appreciate you taking the time to answer that question, because I thought, you know what, Nicole will be perfect to enlist to touch on that topic. So, okay, we know that you're a best-selling author. You have a course online. Where else can the listeners find you?
Absolutely. So I am on Instagram. That's one of the social media things that I'm on quite a bit. It's at live your best life _Nicole. For those of you that are on Clubhouse already, it's live best life now. And certainly you can find me on LinkedIn at live your best life Nicole as well. So on all of those, feel free to connect with me. I'm always putting out great content, informational stuff on all the stuff, financial planning and more, and a ton on helping you find your values and what's important to you.
I am so excited, guys. Go check her out. And where can they find your book if they want to get a copy of that?
Yeah, great. Book is on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere where books are sold. So Navigating Life's Transitions. And then also it's on my website, findyourbestlifenow.com.
Okay, thank you guys. Tons of resources. I will put it all in the show notes so you are able to easily click on that and go find these resources that Nicole and I have been talking about. But Nicole, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into today's episode, guys. If you're not already, make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's at Financially Free Journey. And I share daily tips and motivation to help you with your financially free journey. Until next time.